do you notice the star right here? The star, if anybody knows anything about military, that's a Russian star. My new toolboxes, they're awesome. I got everything sorted out. Everything has its place. And I can find nothing. Not a thing. And I haven't worked on anything, so I don't know where everything's been put. So the last month I actually been fixing stuff and back to the shop routine and not traveling around the world. So I'm starting to realize and find stuff where it is. And I tell you what, I got organization now. Hey.
How many days did it take you to build this entire thing?
More than I want to discuss. This shop, part of the shop, was the dirtiest part of the whole place. This place was, it was an absolute mess. I look back on the pictures of it and it just makes me cringe how dirty it was. It took probably, I worked on cleaning this shop probably 3 months. And I put a good set of lights in here. I wasn't gonna put these in, but they were on sale. And yeah.
And is the frog still there on the floor?
That frog, it was stuck right here. Where them frogs were, it was right here. Where they were stuck on the floor. Right here, where the frogs were. Yeah, the poor buggers. It's amazing what shit crawls across your floor at nighttime when you don't know what's here. You can see that it's kind of dirty in here. I actually do work and I actually do fix shit, believe it or not. So in the process, it's been raining and snowing here a little bit. It is muddy and it tracks. But this epoxy floor, it cleans up really good. It's probably the most aggravating thing I've ever did, and probably the best thing that I ever did was this floor. Anyways, yeah. I got some weird in here. There's a porthole out of a boat.
What's that?
You know what? I don't know what that is. It's a service tool of some kind for vacuum. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. The next thing I got to do is get this running.
Oh, what is that?
It's a gas-powered bar stool. Yeah. I don't know why they put such a close front end on it. But
So what motor is this?
Supposedly it's 8 horsepower. Why anybody want to put an 8 horsepower motor on this bar stool? It's for fat guys like me, I guess, so we can get by. Giver. Yeah. Take me to the tavern. The only thing that'll beat you to the hospital will be the headlights on the ambulance. This is what you call a visible pump. I don't know what year it is, 1930, 1940, I'm not too sure up on it. I do know one thing. Right here is the handle. You take this handle and you pump the fuel up. It come up the visible glass to wherever it was. It was gravity feed, it run down to wherever you're at, and that's where you calculated how much fuel you're using. Simple as that. And then they come a little bit newer to a visible head here. Right here. It had what they call, it's called a computer, I guess, what they call the computer. And it figured it all out for you. So this is about a 50s, we'll say, something like that. Yeah.
Does all the fuel contain lead?
Huh?
Does all the fuel usually contain lead in it?
No, it used to.
Okay.
Back in the day, does it say lead on it?
Yep.
Yeah, they had to put a thing on it. Fuel back in the day contained lead to give a cushion to the valves. Okay? I don't know, lead went out in, if I know, the 80s, we'll say. 70s, 80s, somewhere in there. They took the lead out of fuel, and the valve train and the valves in your vehicles were changed. They call what's called a stellate or a hardened seat put in them. And if you run unleaded fuel on an original old motor, any older than about 1970, it will pound the seat out of it, and it'll pound the valve, will sink right in the head because there's no cushion on it to take the cushion. That's why you got to put lead additive in all this old stuff that you drive. If it does not have updated, if it's got the original motor in it,
yeah,
it'll destroy the motor in it. Yeah. the transmission parts. You'll see this on this video that I did. This is the two pieces I put in the transmission. The, I don't know what it's called. They call it the garbage can. And that's the clutch hub right there. Inside right here is where it always moves. That bushing in there moves out of the way and causes these 10 speeds to have grief. Anyways, I want to make a garbage can out of it.
That's a good idea.
Hey, be a good garbage can. Hey.
And is the water tank part of the gun?
Yes, it is. You bring that up, and that's a very interesting thing. See, that gun was used, that gun there is supposedly a Russian gun, but it was used by everybody. The Russians used it, the Germans used it, the Canadians used it. Everybody used it. It was all technology that they all used. And again, the Russians and the US and Canada were all on the same side back in the day. But the going joke with that gun is it held water, and the British liked drinking tea. So the British wanted to make a cup of tea out in the battlefield. They'd fill the outer chamber full of water, and if you fired 200 rounds through that gun, it would boil water. So they'd fire 200 rounds through it, boil water, and they'd make tea with the boiling water out in the middle of the field, so they didn't have to light a fire. So they say. It's all that stuff. Don't get all freaked out, guys, watching this. It's deactivated. It's a knockoff. It's a knockoff of a 1942 Maxim machine gun that the Russians, for some unknown, the Russians used. I got it in a garage sale for about more than I want to tell you what I paid for it, but I own it. So it's just, like I say, it's a knockoff piece, which I thought was kind of cool. Well, I tell you what, the Russian stuff was fairly interesting. I would have to say, I don't know all of the US stuff that was built, but the stuff that you see the most of posted, I do believe, is the Russian stuff. But both countries had really, really neat stuff. But I think that the US keeps more of them stuff kind of a secret. And the Russians are just trying at one point in time sell all their junk, so there's a bunch of stuff still on the internet of it. But again, remember back in the day, Russia and the US were on the same side in World War II. They weren't enemies. I don't know where the enemy part come in, that they don't get along or whatever, but again, back in the day, they were on the same side. The Cold War bull that come about, I don't know how that started or what happened. Somebody pissed somebody off over a goat or something, I don't know, but it happened. Like microwave, the microwave was probably the biggest thing that come across, like your microwave or your conning tower, microwave tower for early detection on the boats. For your radar, I guess, was all, that's where the microwave tower and your microwave oven and stuff come from. Nylon was produced for your old lady's nylons. Well, all kinds. Every time there's a war, there's a whole bunch of stuff being produced and a whole bunch of spin-off ideas that were made on there that comes back into the public to be used after. So nowadays, I don't know. I'm not up on nowadays stuff, so I couldn't tell you. But anyways, back in the day, lots of stuff. That right there that says water, that's your water for your gun, and you put your steam hose in there. There's a hose that comes off the top of it. When it gets hot, it'll boil it off into steam and then recoup the water. But of course, back in the day, you'd piss in it and everything else if you run out of water, you know. But it just is what it is. I just thought it was a neat piece. Here's something else I put in here too. I got tired of having no lights. Here. There. You like my shirt?
Oh, yeah.
Banging headlights. They got cool headlights. But it's interesting. This here motor job I just did on this transmission and motor. Here's all the paper out of it. This is how many parts I put in this motor. Motor and transmission. What do you think of that?
Do these parts come with a manual?
I guess. No. I looked at this part right here for about a week, 2 weeks. Couldn't figure out what it was. And anyways, we're putting the last parts together on the transmission. Turns out it's the seal for the transmission filter. I laughed about that. And then all the O-rings. You kind of, I don't know how you explain it. You just, here's some more O-rings. Every place has its piece, has its place. And you don't know what you're really working on because you never worked on it before, but it all has the same concept, kind of, sort of. It's like rebuilding this transmission. I've never had rebuilt one of these transmissions a day in my life. But you go educate yourself, and believe it or not, the tool I use the most is YouTube. You go on YouTube, watch a few things, and you go over to Ford and talk to the guys at Ford, and it might work there for, you go to the guys, they can ask about a few things on it and the questions, and out of necessity, you just learn how to fix stuff. Like, I still can't send an email, but I can put this transmission together. The motorcycle's worth probably about 45 grand US is what it's worth. So it's probably the most valuable thing. Yeah, I need to sell it because I'll end up running over it with something. The nice thing about it is it moves slow enough that my kid doesn't want to drive it, so it's all right. Here, 1942 WLA. I brought it home in 7 crates. I didn't want to do it, but I had some pieces and parts left over from the last one I did, and it turned out to be one of the easiest projects I've done so far. The bags and the seat are not original. That gun scabbard.
Oh, that's a gun? Oh.
For gun scabbard, believe it or not, is original. The shovel is not. The siren right here, right there with the blue tape on it, is not original. And this ammo box right here is not original. The rest of it is 100% original, including the speedometer. This speedometer is worth right around $4,000 for that speedometer. The horn, probably about $600. The headlight, $500 to $700. Now, you notice this, do you notice the star right here? The star, if anybody knows anything about military, that's a Russian star, okay? And the reason this bike has a Russian star on it, being a Harley-Davidson, is back in the day, Russia and US, Canada were all allies. They were all in the war together on the same side. And this motorcycle was sent over to Russia. It's called Lend-Lease. They gave them a whole bunch of motorcycles to use, and this is one of them that got sent to Russia and come back home. And how do we know that? Is because of the serial number on the motorcycle, the grouping that went over there. That's how we know where it went to. But yeah, it's front brakes here.
Okay.
It's got a foot brake over here. This is throttle. This here is distributor advance. This here's the gear shift lever. Yeah, it's interesting to drive. They evolved out of that foot clutch, I don't know, maybe in the 60s, maybe, somewhere in there, to become to more as we know it today. But the evolution before these were belt driven. They're a little bit different. I don't know a whole lot about them, except that I do know they were belt driven. This motorcycle is fairly archaic to drive. The average person would not drive this motorcycle. It's just, you got a better chance of driving this motorcycle if you've never driven a motorcycle a day in your life. The controls are all backwards, and it's very interesting. You'll come to the intersection and install it because you forget to put the foot clutch back in, you forget to shift it back into gear. It's very interesting. But again, this bike is about 95% original, which is very weird because that's why I didn't want to buy it, is because I thought all the parts were knockoff aftermarket parts. And when I got it and looked at the serial numbers and stuff on it, even this back part here is all original. The tail lights are all original. The air cleaner is all original. The carburetor, footboards, headlights. They made lots of choppers out of these bikes. This bike was probably the most cannibalized motorcycle in the history of motorcycles. And it's hard to find one that's got all the pieces still on it. So, yeah. I sold 3 motorcycles at JF. I took the money and I bought an electric bicycle. It's a dual motored one. I still haven't quite figured out how it works, other than have to pedal it. But it definitely gets down the road and goes. It'll go 40 mile an hour, which is, doesn't sound fast, but it's fairly quick. I like it. The next thing I'll be looking for, probably some slippers to get around the house. We change and it scares you. You're just not used to it. Or you don't see it changing, it just happens. Like again, like having a good stereo system back in the day was the most important thing in your life. Now, you're just simply happy it turns on. You got Spotify or whatever the hell it is, Shopify, Spotify, whatever it is. It's just changed. Like, I don't know, it's just very interesting. I do know one thing though, I do love this truck. If I didn't love this truck as much as I love this Ford, you know, and special thanks to Kamloops Ford, Lincoln Mercury, for helping me out with the parts and being such a good parts place and so patient and allowing me to look at the microfiche. I guess it's microfiche. It used to be microfiche. It's probably something else now, but allowing me to take and talk to a couple of mechanics to give me a hand to put all this back together after ripping it all apart. You know, so thanks, Kamloops Lincoln Ford Mercury. I don't think it's called that anymore. Is Kamloops Ford Lincoln? I don't know. Close enough. They're good guys. Thanks, Brown. Yeah. Just junk. I love it.